I'm here and playing in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta. It's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50-year-old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Golf Championships, and now we have LIV.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when there's this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this is one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So, yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well, so it was a special day.
The worm has turned in the women's championship at Wimbledon. That's some good alliteration there, I think, if you're enjoying that at home. Kasey Hudson and myself, Joe Pisapia, here taking you through. And Jasmine Paolini is up 3-0 in set number 2. And the odds are moving. So if you're looking right now at the big board, for Barbara Krejcikova to win 2-1, plus 130 for Paolini to win 2-1, it's now minus 105. So really interesting movement here. To win outright, Paolini is now at plus 100 still. Krejcikova at minus 120. So clearly the odds makers are seeing a trend of confidence in Paolini. Some of the items that you spoke about before, Kasey, in terms of the backhand of Paolini and her settling into a groove, that seems to be happening. Now the question is, can she maintain this groove and this pace to go through not only this set, but win a third one too? What do you take out of what you've seen in set 2, which has really been all Paolini so far?
Yes, and I'm excited about it, probably because we have a more interesting championship on our hands here. But the adjustments that you and I have discussed, we're starting to see that being made on Paolini's end. And not to mention, it's not very surprising, right? We saw her be down in a set. We've seen her make these comebacks. We're seeing some mirroring in this tournament right now in this championship in comparison to the semis. When she starts to get hot, her tunnel vision comes in extremely strong. And aside from overhammering the conversation about serving, what she's doing well, and something else that was mentioned earlier, is the fact that if she continues to force the ball to Krejcikova's backhand and not allowing her to be set up to come in with backhand slices, that's where we're seeing the errors. I think through game 3, we saw about 5 or 6 I want to lean more towards 6 backhand errors on Krejcikova's side. So if Paolini continues to stay hot in that manner, and then we start to see both of these women draw into the net, see better volleys, that's kind of where Paolini has dropped a little bit. We haven't seen such strong volleying out of her, but if she continues to serve well, force it to the backhand, not allow those slices to come in because she's serving up nice deep balls, then we can see a bigger championship and maybe hopefully a set 2 win for Paolini here as we get ready to head into set 3 down the stretch.
An unlikely final for sure. We had Paolini at 50-1, Krejcikova at 100-1 to win. And this is what we have. And we're going to have a new winner of Wimbledon for the first time, no matter who wins today. And so far, Paolini in this second set just seems to have found her confidence, found her game. You see that backhand again, that one unfortunately going into the net for her, but you could see a little bit more of that confidence. Maybe just The stage was a little big in that opening. We talked about the jitters being a factor, and it did feel like that in the early going for Paolini. It felt like she had a little bit too much of the pomp and circumstance maybe coursing through her veins. She is settled in now. So what does Krejcikova have to do to kind of take this momentum back?
It's going to come back to not relying on her serve entirely, as important as that is, and as well as it panned out for her in that first set. It's going to be her responses now. So we're kind of seeing her crumble on her backhand. We're seeing her struggle to adjust to some of the deep serves that Paolini is bringing in here. We're going to have to see what she brought in round 1 and round 2. She's going to have to pull that and encompass that in that championship in order to get back into this matchup, because serves alone are not going to win her this game. And if Paolini starts getting her to move, kind of back to that corner conversation that I was mentioning, forcing her to open up her stride, forcing her to have to kind of add some distance to her game, then we might see Paolini continue to roll. So let's see if Krejcikova can start to kind of have a better respond game and bounce back into this one. But I'm not sure, because we've seen Paolini get hot and stay hot a number of times.
Yeah, and she's been that comeback kid too. And sometimes you just believe that you can win, you're going to come back, and it just seems to go and continue on. And that seems like Paolini is in right now. 3-1 though, Krejcikova does win that game, so she is back on the board here in this set. She was down 3-0 here just a few moments ago. And now Paolini with the service as we continue to keep you updated here on SportsGrid. Don't forget, everybody, follow us on social media, SportsGrid TV. Download the app to stay on top of everything. We've got coverage live all day of MLB, more previews, I'm sure, of the Euro and the Copa. We'll talk about that more as well. A big day, a big weekend, really, when it comes down to it in the sports wagering universe. And we are the place and the hub for all of that. Kasey, I want to check in on your best bets. I want to do a temperature check and see how you feel about some of the things we said at the top of the show. Maybe you feel better, maybe you feel worse. I don't know, but it's a fun time to look in over it. So the best bets you had on the board here, over 5.5 total aces at -112. Krejcikova alternate set spread plus 1.5 at -380. Again, heavy juice there. Jasmine Paolini to win and 23 plus total match games plus 320, and Krejcikova winning second set -128. Now that one looks like it could be in peril, but what do you think of the rest of these here?
I know, if only betting worked where you could just quickly switch out the name. Paolini to take the second set, right? But that's
fine. Why in-game
that
live is here, isn't it? But Kasey, that's why we're here, right? To hedge and to make your money back here. You think something looks good, and all of a sudden the worm is turned, and all of a sudden you have a different opportunity. And this is a great opportunity here to look ahead, and maybe you make it back by looking at Paolini to win outright, because now the plus money has certainly looked pretty good on her, and it might be going away as more we look at this too, as Paolini continues to look really good in this second set.
Yeah, absolutely. At least my L will be fortune and hopefully money for others, but I'm okay with doing that. But yeah, as you mentioned, that second set is looking a little grim for Krejcikova right now. The Paolini to win, and then the 23 total sets between the pair is something to still keep an eye on. There's some hopeful remark there depending on how this second set closes out. As for the over 5.5 total aces, even though Krejcikova was very strong in that first set with her serving, it's going to be Paolini that kind of holds that lone ace at the moment. But as things continue to progress for both of these women, that's still something that's well within reach to hit that over 5.5, especially if Paolini can pull off the second set here and push to a third. Outside of that, the alt spread is still very much in contention here. That plus 1.5, again, as long as it splits in favor, you already have a win under Krejcikova to take that first set. So if we move to 3 for sure, then this plus 1.5 at -380 is going to be favorable and stay in a winning market or a winning set if I wanted to play on words.
I love to play on words. I'm a big fan. Jasmine Paolini.
Me too.
To win 2-1 is at -110 on the board right now. Krejcikova to win 2-1 is at plus 130. We are in a break right now with the women. We return. Obviously, we're going to continue to look ahead to what's in store in this third set. And I want to get Kasey's take on that, kind of break down the momentum. It's such a big thing in all sports, but especially in tennis. When you're out there by yourself, you are kind of an island, and it is a lot of attention. And I think the mental aspect of it is just as important as perhaps, the physical and the athletic aspect of it. When you think about that, Kasey, who does that favor? Does it favor Paolini, who seems to be this energetic person who really has all of this, good favor with the media and this good momentum coming in, or Krejcikova, who's more of that, I hate to say veteran presence because they're the same age, but more of a veteran presence in these circumstances, at least because she's been to so many finals in the doubles world. So it's a little bit different when you're in there by yourself, but at the same time, maybe a little bit better footing. So the mental side right now, which side do you think has the advantage?
Yeah, feel goods don't really add to mental toughness because we know that athletes have to go through all sorts of hurdles to continue to keep their mental strong and overcome any sort of slip off. But most importantly, it's going to be Krejcikova, not only because, as you mentioned, kind of where she has the totality to continue to be strong in tennis, the titles that she's won, the contenders that she has beat. It's more so the fact that she is very, very smart. A lot of mental toughness, as well as specifically in tennis, you're almost playing a chess match. You're reading, you're anticipating, you're making assumptions. So being able to have a high IQ in that manner is going to play heavily into mental toughness and not being rattled. She's very composed. Not that we've ever seen Paolini be rattled, but we've seen a lot more composure consistently for Krejcikova, and I think that she kind of takes that mental toughness at the moment, which I think is kind of different from tunnel vision. Paolini, tunnel vision; Krejcikova, mental toughness.
We'll be right back with more women's finals in the championship at Wimbledon.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta. It's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but it's so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Liv. It's
very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
This wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this is one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
A fist-pumping Paolini seems to be taking it to Barbora Krejcikova right now. It is 4-2 in the second set, 15-love in this first game. And Krejcikova having to move all over the court right now. Paolini really sort of taking her, moving her around, and now 30-love in this game currently here. You are watching SportsGrid in-game live. Joe Pisapia, Kasey Hudson here with you, taking you through the Wimbledon finals. The championship is here for the women. Tomorrow will be the men's. We'll be back again to do this all over. But looking so far at this one, again, the live betting right now, Kasey, when you're looking at the live betting markets here, what stands out to you, what you've seen in this trend? How can we make some money off of it in terms of service markets, in terms of maybe just looking straight on the money line, or if we're looking at the sets again, it's getting tighter and tighter. Krejcikova 2-1 plus 120, minus 130 now. They just changed. Paolini goes now into the minus for the first time. So she seems like the favorite at this time here with this momentum swing. Do you agree with the odds makers, or is this an opportunity to go back to Krejcikova for the first time at a really good plus number?
I think it would behoove me to stick with the fact that this could be falling in favor of Paolini. As you guys probably saw, I have Paolini potentially powering through and taking this championship, and we're kind of seeing the why. We're seeing the pedigree that we've seen throughout the entire tournament start to show up right now and take command. Something else is the fact that if you're looking at the service market right now, double faults are starting to kind of take place a bit more consistently for Krejcikova. So if you're live betting, take a look over at the surface market, take a look at those double faults. And then we've got Paolini with not only the lone ace of the day, but coming in with a second ace that's starting to help her gain extra confidence and extra momentum. But it's not her serves that are pulling her through this second set. No, it's her fantastic forehands. And we just saw a beautiful rally between these two women, and her come in with a dominating forehand that picked up another point in favor for her. So as she just commanded game 7, we're seeing her continue to stroll through. We're seeing that mirroring to how she pulled herself through the semis. So if she can keep her foot on the gas, then I like where the odds are shifting, and I like how these numbers are taking place. And I got to stay faithful to where my first bets came in.
Yeah. And I think that, you have to hope that she can maintain the pace. I think that's what we're looking for. You don't want Paolini to kind of blow it all here in this second one. This is important. You've got to obviously, stave off disaster as she goes up 5-2 now as we go to break again in the match. Certainly, it does feel like the swing has swung in Paolini's favor. That's where the odds makers are. That's where the visual is as well. So we'll see if Krejcikova has enough here to pull things out. Certainly, I think an interesting final two. We've talked about how these women have gotten here, that run that they've had here too. What is the future for these two women too when you start to look ahead to the other tournaments coming up here in the future? We got another major obviously coming up in the fall time when you have the US Open coming up. In terms of these women and what they've done on different surfaces, do you see this trend of Paolini getting to Roland Garros final, to Wimbledon final? Do you think she is kind of emerging now as one of the darlings of this tennis world, and will we see her maybe in another major final this year?
I wouldn't be surprised, actually, because, as I mentioned, to be able to perform well on clay and then start to pull that game and make it translate over to grass. When it comes down to clay surfaces, the ball that you have to adjust to can become heavier, can become slower. So you have to be very strong. You have to be very powerful. Now, being good on clay doesn't particularly always translate over to hard court because, as I mentioned, that can be really powerful. The ball can move very fast, but you have the ability to kind of make those strong stops. And that works in favor of explosive and powerful players. And we're seeing Paolini kind of become this very explosive player. Her speed will be accommodable when it comes to hard courts. And, she has some parallels to the explosive and the dynamic that Alcaraz has. And we've seen Alcaraz be one of the few players to actually be strong on clay, hard, as well as grass. So if she can kind of emulate some of that, then yeah, we're seeing somebody rise to stardom, and she's doing it in such a progressive and steady manner, and she can curtail some parts of her game. Hopefully we'll see her pick up a title on a different surface, if not today.
Looking at the body language right now, Krejcikova, taking service back here again, down 5-2 in the second set. It's now 15-15. She's hit some balls long here on the service. She's just hit one into the net. You can see her kind of talking to herself a little bit, sort of in a negative way. Body language, shoulders slumped a little bit. She does look a little bit, I don't want to say defeated, but certainly frustrated. I think that's the way to go here for her. She is hanging in here, that's for sure. As they go back and forth on this one. She hits one long here. Paolini is now up 30-15 in this game. And I think this is a dangerous spot for her because Krejcikova, I don't think, can allow that mental side of the game to fall backwards. You have to just kind of stick to your guns, stick to what you do well, take advantage of when you have the service, it feels like, Kasey. Because if you don't, you're kind of going to let this slip away from you with this energy that is kind of infectious and really aggressive of Paolini. I mean, that's the thing. We were looking for it early on. We didn't see it. The nerves were there. But it really looks right now like Paolini is the one that is focused, locked in, and Krejcikova is also now in a spot where she seems like she isn't in a groove. And I think that's a very dangerous thing. Are you picking up that same body language from her that I'm picking up?
Absolutely. And on two notes of that, imagine how frustrating it is to be trying to keep yourself mentally in tune and try to get back into something. And the person across from you just has not only this high energy, but positive energy. It's almost like that person that laughs in your face after they upset you and it just continues to grind your gears. That's the energy I'm picking up on. Even though Krejcikova is kind of maintaining herself, you pointed it out. The body language is saying a lot. She's getting frustrated. She's starting to kind of get into her own head here, even though I just said she probably has the bigger hand, making mistakes at the net. When you continue to make the same mistakes, that's kind of a hard thing to overcome also. So you're trying to top insanity as well as the energy, the bundle of energy in front of you, and get back to your game. So it's going to be interesting to see how she kind of pulls herself back together here with a smiling and energetic Paolini across from her.
We'll be smiling with energy when we return because set 2 is the inverse of set 1. We'll tell you what happened right after this.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta. It's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Live.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when there's this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
All right, everyone, we have a mirror image of our first set in the second set. Paolini now 6-2 in set number 2, and we have ourselves a championship. This is going to be extremely entertaining here as we continue on with the Women's Wimbledon Championship right here on SportsGrid. You're watching in-game live, in case you didn't know it, and of course, you're listening to it as well. Kasey Hudson here has thankfully been here and having us just I would say a clinic, basically, giving us a clinic on tennis wagering, and goodness knows I could use it. I'm sure a lot of us out there who are watching and for the first time and thinking about wagering on tennis has been able to do that. So Paolini has taken the momentum. She has taken the second set. Now we are approaching the third. What does Paolini have to do to maintain this momentum? And what does the other side here with Krejcikova have to do in order to get back on track and find that momentum again? Because it does seem like everything has shifted to the other side after the second set, but we all know that could change right back. So what do each of these women have to do to win this third set and win a championship?
Absolutely. Starting with Paolini, she's just got to continue to zip around the way that she is. And I think you and I had a great conversation during the break there about something that she's doing very well. When it comes to working on a grass surface, you can typically see players kind of sliding around a bit. Even though she is a fast and responsive player, we're not seeing her sliding to the point where she has losing composure in her positioning, losing composure in her stance. We're seeing such a balancing act here on her way of approaching the ball. Again, back to that forehand that's just consistently kind of keeping her roped in this game here. A number of points coming off the forehand also. So if she can just continue to zip around and continue to add and stack that confidence, which clearly she's feeling fantastic right now. And again, we've seen her be able to carry that momentum over because she's not relying on one aspect of her game. She's just kind of trying to piece together new game plans as she moves throughout. And that's going to help her in the long run here, because if you can continue to address this game with versatility, then you're going to be harder to beat. Now, when it comes for Barbora Krejcikova, she's got to get out of her head for starters. And I think part of that is her having that strong first set, coming in hot with the serves, kind of like we thought the game plan was going to go. Powerful serves, 80% efficiency, but you cannot rely on that single-handedly. So some of the errors that are coming off of her backhand, she's got to find a way to move faster, adjust quicker, because by the time that she gets to approach of the ball, she just kind of seems like she doesn't know how to really attack strong on it. And a lot of that's coming off of her backhand. If we see Paolini get a little stronger in her volleying in this third set, it's going to be interesting to see, but her foot will be the one staying leaded on the gas here to power through.
How important is this first game here in this third set for Krejcikova too, to kind of set the tone that she's back in this? Because Paolini is serving right now, and Paolini just goes up 15 love in the first game here of this third set. So what do you think has to happen here for her in terms of like how important is it to not kind of let this one get away early in this next game?
It's absolutely crucial, because on top of trying to adjust her game and find her confidence in her readjustments, you're going to want to open up strong to tell yourself that you have the capability to do so. If she continues to see Paolini control and conduct the game, it's going to be a bit harder to come out of your head as well as readjust your game. So as you mentioned, Paolini kind of having a stronger start there with the starting off with the serve and picking up a point. She's going to have to be able to match that energy. So if she can get a response point here, and whatever fashion that may be, volley, forehand, backhand, stretch, then I think that'll help her kind of realize, okay, I've done this before. I was able to go to more of a response and return game in those first two rounds versus relying on my serve. So I think that'll be key for her, is to pick up a point, not on the serve, and be able to match tempo as close as possible with Paolini.
Feels like you're watching two runners, and one's just pulling away, and the other one's just out of gas right now, because we go up right now. Paolini in this third set, 1-0, 40 love, and then wins the game here. So Paolini has not taken her foot off the gas. Krejcikova did not do what we said she needed to, which is kind of get on the board early here, stop the bleeding. She hasn't. Now she has an opportunity here with the service coming back to her to do that. We'll see if she can maybe put a pause button at least, or take some of the air out of Paolini, but so far that has not been the case. She just looks like she has not found her groove, and she's lost whatever she had in that early going where she was looking dominant. And I think she was just very confident, and that confidence has waned. And Paolini, as you mentioned, the footwork's been really good. She is not sliding all over the grass. She is ready. She is in front of the ball. She is hitting things hard, and it seems like all the pressure has now gone onto the other side. She is playing pressure-free, and Krejcikova seems to have all the pressure on her shoulders. When we return, we're going to take a look at the Copa. We're also going to keep you up to date here on Wimbledon and some Major League Baseball happening today, right here on In Game Live. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
One of the many exciting things about joining Liv was was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta, it's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50-year-old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have LIV.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when it's this windy, this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
Service went back to Krejcikova, and all of a sudden we are tied 1-1 in the third set here to decide the Wimbledon Championship on the women's side. Tomorrow we'll be back with coverage of the men's side, same time, same channel. Make sure you're tuning into SportsGrid. So we talked about Krejcikova needing to slow things down a little bit. She did that. It was a dominant game for her. Now Paolini takes the service back here. What do you make out of what you just saw to Krejcikova getting on the board here?
Krejcikova able to capitalize on her serve. She picked up an ace in that one, which is always a fun way to grab a point, but also to get some confidence back and feel good about your strides. Another thing that she did very well within her serves is that Paolini's response to the serves came in a little too hot and a little too powerful. So she was sending forehands that were going out of bounds and not able to kind of get enough topspin to keep it within the match there so that they can get a bit of a rally going. So it's going to be interesting to see if Krejcikova can continue to wield her serve in her favor. But again, as adjustments continue to go through, if Paolini can kind of let off the strength there a little bit and get those forehands back in topspin form and get rallies going, then we'll probably see her bounce back into this, because take note of the fact that Paolini has had one of the longest rallies within the Wimbledon tournament, which means she's got the energy, she's got the stamina, she's got the ability to stay in this and continue to go at it. So we'll see how she makes of her progression heading out of this game.
The live board right now, Paolini to win -220, Krejcikova +175. So we'll keep you up to date with everything going on there. Also, tomorrow, we already touched on earlier the Euro Championship and also the Copa Championship as well. So we're going to talk about that a little bit right now. It is an international flavor weekend of sports wagering. Right now, Spain is the favorite in the Euro, but you're looking over at the Copa, and the favorite right now is obviously on the side of Argentina. Argentina has been, obviously the Leo Messi show for quite some time. They're coming off a huge win not that long ago as a team and a nation from the World Cup, -188, Colombia +160 here. Just speaking up of this match too, Argentina was favorites coming in here. We've seen some in that tournament, certainly some moments where they were pushed, but it does feel like it's Argentina's to lose. Do you feel the same way about this Copa Cup final here, where it's really Argentina's ability to continue to press, continue to do what they do, the athleticism of this team, versus a Colombia team that certainly has earned its way there, but probably in terms of talent, I don't know if they necessarily match up. Do you see this the same, where Argentina's the favorite, this is the way to go, and maybe the only way to make money here on this is to wait for maybe Colombia to get up early with a 1-0 goal and then see the in-game live odds change and get a better number from the minus 188 on Argentina? Kasey, how do you see this one?
Yeah, I see this as obviously Argentina has earned the rights to be the favorites. They're they're very much the most well-rounded team. They check all the boxes in terms of what it takes to win and move forward versus Colombia. Now, I don't want to take away from what Colombia has done so well. They get a lot of shots on target as well as creating scoring opportunities. But most importantly, it's the fact that their defense kind of deflates versus high-powered teams, and Argentina has that. If it's not the Messi show, then it's the Martinez show, and I think Martinez has the hot foot right now. So if Colombia's defense crumbles or if they can't manage the structure in which Argentina attacks them in, then we're looking at exactly why Argentina came in as favorites here, because they've let up 13 goals. They're letting up about an average of 0.6 goals per game. And you're looking at an Argentina team that's averaging 2.1 goals per game. So it's going to be a hefty defensive load for Colombia to adjust to. They can't just rely on their speed to kind of get through gaps there and try to find shots as well as any goals. And Argentina is stout offensively, defensively, and pace of game. So I think that you're going to want to watch in-game live so you can see if things vary. Maybe half by half is something to take a look at there, but Argentina's very much earned the right here. And who is Leon Messi to not show up in a game like this? This is where he just shows why he's the GOAT of this particularly. So a number of reasons why Argentina stays cool.
Well, we have some of the Messi specials up here, too. The anytime goal sticks out to me as plus 180. That's a really good number you're getting on him. There's a lot of different ways to just hyper-focus on Messi in this game tomorrow. So what sticks out to you on this board when you take a look at it?
I've got to love on the to score or assist. I think that Messi, look, he shows up in these platforms no matter what, but something that he does so well, which makes him one of the top leaders in this sport also, is his way of creating scoring chances for his teammates. He can open up things and he can really get hot in the assist column. And I like this even more because if Messi gets hot in the assist column, Martinez has the hot foot right now. So I actually have Martinez for an anytime goal. And that's why I love even more for Messi to either score or assist. Those in both favorites there, but I'm seeing a little bit more of him opening up the scoring opportunities and then maybe topping things off towards the end of the game, depending on how things look after that first 45.
I would say looking at the parlay too, Messi anytime goal scorer, and then perhaps go with the over on the 1.5 too, which is heavily juiced at that minus 170. That's an interesting path there to put those little skinny parlay, as I like to say. The more you add, the more variance, the more chance you're going to light your money on fire. Try not to do that, folks. That's not what we want to do here. We want to make more of it, not light it on fire, for God's sakes. We are up here right now 2-2 in this third and deciding set. Once again, Krejcikova takes the service back and dominating. There was a long volley there. I don't know if you saw it while we were talking about the soccer here, where it seemed like Krejcikova, really was refusing to lose that volley, and she did indeed win it. And she goes through there and just dominates once again. When she has the service, she's been dominating so far in this third and final set. So it's really going to come down to, can Paolini overcome that and get to a point where she wins one of these services on the other side here? Do you think she has one of those in her? Because if she doesn't, this could get real tricky for her down at the end.
I think she continues to prove that she does. And with the back and forth heading into this set, or going through this set, I should say, I think that it does show that she has the ability to do so. Again, somebody who can just continue to readjust and not particularly doing it from a tactful angle, just kind of relying on her versatility and her ability to kind of show different looks here. So I think that Paolini can pull something off here and continue to keep this as interesting as it's been for the championship.
Interesting, it absolutely has been. There's no doubt about that. Again, the odds are still in the favor of Paolini, minus 195, Krejcikova plus 160. So if you want to get in on Krejcikova, if you think she can handle it, that's the way to go. Paolini now up 40 love. So this just continues to be the same thing, mirror image back and forth of these two, which is making for a great final here. The last thing you want is something where one side just dominating. You want a good match between these two, especially since it was so unexpected. So I think a lot of people might be arguing that this Wimbledon championship didn't have as much star power as they're used to in the past or something like that. Well, to heck with that. We just want a good final here, and I think you're getting that. And these ladies are really challenging each other, and it does seem as Paolini goes up 3-2 here in this final set that it is going to be somebody has to blink first. It's like those great old gunfights in the old West movies. Somebody's going to blink. I don't know who it's going to be first. Paolini looks strong. Krejcikova seems to have found her footing again, which is very important, and found her confidence again. So I think the weight of the moment is sinking in for these two. We'll see who is going to actually end up becoming the women's champion here in Wimbledon. Quick question for you, too, as you look at the live betting market here. With people dominating as much as they are when they have the service, is that the best way in these final moments here to make some money here on Wimbledon?
Yes. If you're live betting, you should probably see something that says picking up a point on the serve. That's what we're seeing Krejcikova continue to do, and that's where her game continues to draw back to. She's grabbing points on the serve, and what's helped her pick up some of these points in these games throughout in between Paolini's wins is her picking up a point not only on the serve but on the return and respond end. So always take a look at strong servers to grab a point on their serve.
If you've been doing that in this last set, you're making money, because that's how it's gone so far by rote, as Kasey just laid out for us. Great stuff, Kasey. We come back, we're going to continue to keep you updated here on this championship at Wimbledon and the women's side. We're going to also look ahead to the men's tomorrow and a full slate of Major League Baseball, some games to keep an eye on, including Aaron Judge, who just continues to kill the Orioles. We'll return on SportsGrid right after this.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta. It's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50-years-old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Live.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when there's this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
We are tied in the third set, 3-3. It doesn't get much better than this, folks. Welcome back to SportsGrid here for the Wimbledon Women's Championship. Joe Pisapia here and Kasey Hudson taking you through. Certainly an exciting final here, going back and forth. Things are getting very tight. It's been a fun ride, and we'll be back again tomorrow to do it again with the men's, too, as Alcaraz tries to go for his second Wimbledon title. We get a rematch of last year. We'll talk about that in a second, too. Also today, on In-Game Live, don't forget a lot of MLB games and some important ones, too. The Yankees and Orioles square off. A little dust-up last night, too. Things got a little heated Today you're going to get Heel on the mound with his 3.27 ERA. Last start was much better. The 2 starts before that, not great. Remember, he is second in the league in walks, despite the fact that ERA was stunningly good, but he is hitting that innings wall. Grayson Rodriguez on the other side here for the Orioles and Yankees game, which could be an ALCS preview. But Kasey, I want to talk about some numbers here for Aaron Judge against the Orioles in 101 games. They're pretty good. A 307 batting average, 110 hits in 101 games, 40 homers, 88 RBI, 96 runs. Yesterday on my show, I was talking about betting Aaron Judge to hit a home run. He did. To go over in the total bases, he did. Today, those prospects look pretty good as well. Over on the runs, 0.5, minus 108. You're getting to hit a home run, plus 270. You might as well. He's killing the Orioles. And then the total bases, you're still getting plus money over on the plus 105 side. So Aaron Judge has been in the top of this MVP race for quite some time, but it is just stunning, isn't it, how much this one man just destroys the Baltimore Orioles on what seems like a daily basis.
Well, Judge is judging, and I feel like because of some of the storylines and turns and all of the turbulence when it comes to the Yankees season, a lot of times he's got that pressure on his shoulder to be the most well-rounded player and most consistent leading guy out there, and that's what we continue to see from him. Not to mention the Orioles are just kind of falling apart. There was so much drama yesterday, and that just kind of adds insult to injury here when you got a guy like Judge that can step up and just continue to dominate. He's in their head. He's in a lot of teams' heads, but specifically when it comes to the Orioles, I'm sure we can count on another stellar performance just to continue to excel.
Krejcikova goes up 40-30 in this game right now. We are tied 3-3. We're going to keep you up to date on everything going on here, and certainly this one's coming down to the wire here. Krejcikova seems to have found that confidence back. Again, that body language you talked about in that second round looked really down in that second set. Did not look really good. Seemed like she was very frustrated. Couldn't find her groove. Now she seems to be back in it. Paolini doesn't quite have that same fire, so maybe she has burned a little bit too much of that gas tank. We shall see here. Krejcikova has this one go long, though. That is huge. And Paolini fist pumping everywhere. Us Italians, we do love a little bit of fist pumping now and again. Just saying, even the ones that don't live in New Jersey, we do like to fist pump a little bit. So a huge moment here for her. As we continue to take you through here on SportsGrid. That was quite an exchange, Kasey. What do you make out of that last one here as Paolini kind of found the spark again here, service to her again, 40-40?
Absolutely. If I'm Paolini, I'm fist pumping because a couple of the plays leading up to that long ball that Krejcikova had that ended up putting the point towards Paolini, that was kind of what was happening to her. She had a backhand that went too long, then she had another backhand that went out of bounds, and then before that, something went into the net. So it's going to feel good to see the fact that you can kind of mirror your opponent and force them to have errors that just kind of took the wind out of your game a little bit. And as we know, it only takes a split second to get Paolini fist pumping, energetic, moving her feet and getting back to her game. So this one can continue to tango, and I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing some sort of a tiebreak action here. We've seen both of these women have to overcome and take a tiebreak point at one point or another moving through this Wimbledon tournament. Yeah,
great serve there by Paolini. But unfortunately, right now we are at advantage because we continue to go back and forth here. It is really dramatic here. This is some good stuff. This is why we're here. This is why we love this. This is exactly what you want it to be. The fact that these two sets, the first two were mirror images, and now we are tied here, 3-3 advantage. Krejcikova right now, currently, Paolini looks to serve again, and Paolini really is in a tough spot here. She has to make sure that she wins these serves because she is struggling on the other side here. And unfortunately, it does not go her way. Krejcikova now up 4-3. So let's take a look at the odds now that she's gone ahead and what this means. Paolini now goes to plus money, plus 280 to win, minus 370 for Krejcikova. So we mentioned before, if you like Krejcikova, the time to get in on it was at plus 160. That's now gone away. So if you like Paolini, this is certainly the time to jump. You're getting 3-1. But have you seen her start to falter here at the end? Kasey, have you seen her maybe not have enough gas left here to finish her off and maybe got a little bit too excited, too much passion perhaps in that second set? Does she have enough here to finish off? Because it looks like she might not.
I wouldn't say that she doesn't have enough left in the tank. I think this tank just tends to find some gunpowder along the way, and she just gets these bursts of energy. But as for being able to respond to Krejcikova as she starts to get back into her serving rhythm and kind of finding more of an element to her game and picking up a few return points there, that's going to be where she has to kind of pull back on some of those rounds where she extended those rallies, and she probably has to calm her game down just a little bit in those responses. Again, you can't be too powerful when you're responding. You want to have, I think she still wants to have that great forehand, but she's got to kind of let off the juice just a little bit, because if you keep sending these long balls back, you're not going to get the rallies. And I think that what's going to work in favor for Paolini right now is if she can get these rallies to kind of have some extension to them. That's where her energy, that's where her stamina comes in, and that's where she has the ability to pick up points and kind of round out and move forward over Krejcikova, who's just stepping up in the serves as well as returns at the moment.
The women are coming back from another break. In the meantime, we'll look ahead to the battle in Texas today. We've got the Texas Rangers, the defending champs, taking on the Houston Astros in Houston. Houston dealing with some injuries. Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker. Obviously, Tucker not coming back till after the All-Star game. So that's going to be really intriguing to see if Alvarez is on the field or not today. That could have a huge impact on this game, too, because Nady Eovaldi's on the mound. He's pitched relatively well this year, a 3 ERA. So you look maybe for Texas on that run line, -1.5 at +140. That's the best odds I'm seeing. Maybe go that route on that one as well. We will touch here on the men's final tomorrow and wrap up the women's Wimbledon championship. We return. Don't go anywhere. We've got a live one for you on SportsGrid.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? I've been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta. It's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50-year-old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Live.
It's very exciting, and really, if there was ever a place to get my first win, I feel like this would be the perfect week.
I feel like when there's this wind at this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
What the heck course were you playing today?
I don't know.
It's brutal out there.
It is brutal. I don't know. I just made everything I looked at, Jerry. You have those days. I suppose this was one of those days for me, so I really shouldn't. I really enjoyed it. Every time I stood over a putt, just felt like I could make it, and you don't get days like that too often, or certainly I don't. So yeah, I relished in it, and I managed to hit a lot of good shots as well. So it was a special day.
Paolini down 5-3, but up 40 love right now as we are looking at the Women's Wimbledon Championship coming down to the wire. It's a very exciting one. Stay tuned here on the network for Game Time Decisions with Kevin Walsh, the man, the myth, the legend. And I think Kasey Hudson's going to stick around because he's going to need support just like I needed for the last 2 hours. Kasey Hudson absolutely crushing things here on the tennis side. And we'll be back tomorrow to do it again. The men's side tomorrow, again, a Wimbledon rematch of last year. Carlos Alcaraz, -146 in some markets. Djokovic right now is at plus 122. So give me your quick take before we head out of here on our show and go to game time decisions on this men's rematch of the Wimbledon Championship.
Very excited for this men's rematch because we've seen that Carlos Alcaraz has just continued to prevail and stack statistically throughout this year, and he's done it on every single surface. But Joker has a point to prove. He told everybody that he is not going to come into this, regardless of the surgery that he recently just had, if he didn't think he was capable of winning. And he has had some big pushes, and plus he's shown his dominance and his consistency and his well-rounded game. His tack and IQ is going to prevail pretty strongly here. Alcaraz's serves haven't really been coming in as strong in those first sets, so it's going to be interesting to see how Joker takes advantage of that and where the momentum swings into a second set. But Alcaraz is a hard guy to count out. He's fast, he's explosive, he's very powerful, and he has another guy that comes in with a fast serve, forcing his opponents to play very deep. So we'll see if the knee can hold up with some really stellar serving tomorrow and what this rematch holds in store. But Alcaraz, I'm pretty sure, is still favored here to kind of take another title.
Djokovic, what does he have to do here to play upset? What does he have to do here in order to win this? Because, as you mentioned, Alcaraz is the favorite, and Alcaraz certainly looked dominant here last year, and so far in this tournament, we'll break that all down tomorrow, has looked dominant again. So what does Joker have to do to really kind of upset here? Is it just as easy as coming out of the gates red hot, or is there more that he has to do?
Slightly a little bit more, because where Alcaraz kind of has an advantage is the fact that if Joker comes out and has the same serving style over and over and over again, that tell is going to help Alcaraz control the game. He's going to have to get a little versatile with his serves. He's going to have to switch things up a little bit. He's going to have to translate between a powerful serve and as well as, those deep serves that come right at Alcaraz, because Alcaraz's ability to adjust around the ball, regardless of his approach to the ball, is really stellar, and that's what's helped him stack statistically throughout the year. So you got to be kind of surprising when it comes to these serves, and plus his net game is going to have to come strong, because again, you're going against a guy who's very fast, who's got the ability to have these bursts and these explosions, where I'm not going to put the knee as an excuse, but if you're playing a heavy net game and you're having to do a lot of these dynamic movements, Alcaraz just kind of has the jovial and the stamina on his side to kind of counter that attack. So we'll see if Joker can come in and just continue to stay high energy and overall have a well-rounded game versus an Alcaraz that's staying hot at the moment.
Paolini gets on the board. It's 5-4, but now we are in the next game, and it's 30-love. Once again, Krejcikova takes over the service. Just going long was Paolini on this last one, so really tough spot here because Paolini kind of fighting for her life at this moment. And she is down 30-love currently in this game. So maybe we'll get an end here. Chances are you're going to have to stay on the grid and keep on here with Kevin and Kasey to get some closure here. Certainly, that's what we're going to need. I'm going to be watching it afterwards because I need the closure. But Krejcikova seems to have once again found her footing a little bit. Paolini has not had a few balls dropped, gone long with a few as well. So she has made Paolini move a lot here recently, maybe a little bit of fatigue setting into. Do you see any of that potentially with Paolini, or do you think that Krejcikova's serve right now is just proving to be that thing that we talked about at the top? That would be the thing that would carry her through to a victory, and it seems like so far it's exactly where we're at here in the end game.
Yeah, she's not abandoning the foundation that's working for her.
Mm-hmm.
She's just starting to increase it and strengthen it. And she picked up some very key aces along the way, which puts you over that 5.5 aces if you grab that at the top of the segment. So I think when it comes to grabbing those points off the serve for Krejcikova and keeping Paolini on her toes, then yeah, we're going to see Krejcikova be able to capitalize on what works so well for her throughout the championship as well as throughout the tournament. And that's going to be that serve.
Kasey Hudson is going to be back again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, with me right here on SportsGrid to talk about the men's Wimbledon Championship final. That's going to be fun for sure. This one coming down to the wire, 30-30, 5-4 in this final set. It's a great one. Stay with us here on the grid for more and the results of the Women's Championship at Wimbledon. We'll see you next time, kids.